So thank you IKEA executives for joining me this morning. I'm just going to start off by introducing the team. So we have Charlie, myself, Lawrence, Vivian, Tim and Cindy. And we've been tasked with implementing e-commerce into the IKEA website, your IKEA website. So we're just going to run you through our findings and the proposed solution this morning. I thought we'd just start with trying to narrow down what we see IKEA as and really try to understand what is unique about your company and what your brand identity is, because we really want to capture that and carry that through the whole project. So I have a quote here from your founder. Happiness is not reaching your goal, happiness is being on the way. It is our wonderful fate to be just at the beginning. And I think that really encapsulates a really great thing that IKEA do, and that is taking users on a journey and sort of understanding that it's not just a customer coming into the shop and just picking something off the shelf. It's about taking them on a journey, inspiring them to interact with your company, to help them design or buy furniture. Now, I'll just go to the next slide. And that was really, really well backed up from our user interviews. And we just had this really, really great quote from one particular user. IKEA deck out the whole room. They're not just selling you an item of furniture, they're selling you the idea of a room. So that just sort of really reinforced for us as well, that idea of IKEA taking people on a journey and inspiring people, not just selling a product. So with that in mind, it obviously shifted the sorts of competitors we saw you guys competing with. So obviously you're in the furniture retailing sector, so that was an obvious competitor we looked at, but we also compared you to the inspiration space. So companies and websites that inspire people, users and blogs and all that sort of thing. So companies like Pinterest. So that will bring me to our main research, which Vivian is going to run us through. So I'll introduce Vivian.
Thank you. Good morning, all. So with the research, our goal is to learn as much as possible about customers' experience with IKEA. So we studied the brand, the whole brand, and we studied the business goal, as well as we did user flow on the e-commerce. So we go through each steps, so we kind of get we know which on each step what kind of interaction customer will have to, with the e-commerce, and so after that we have a topic map. So with this topic map, we have a really great idea to get as broad as a vision on our research, what kind of aspect we need to pay attention to. So this is our topic map. And after that, we did a discussion guide and observation guide. So after that, we were released to the field. So we went to the IKEA physical store, and we went to some competitor stores, as well as we conducted the interviews with our customers. So we get really interesting, lots of findings, lots of discoveries. So Tim will walk you guys through our discoveries.
So we had three sort of things that we were looking at. What people loved about the in-store experience, what people loved about an online experience, and also the pain points that they were experiencing. So in terms of the in-store experience, one of the most common ones that came up was that people really wanted to experience the product firsthand. So this included them wanting to feel it, wanting to touch it, jumping on the beds, the whole getting to know the product firsthand, because it's an actual physical product in your house. The second one that we found was that people were very happy to have staff there available when they needed help. However, they just liked the fact that they had the freedom to explore on their own, but when they needed help, there was someone around. So yeah, that was one of the things I really enjoyed about the in-store experience. the environment of the room was the third thing that we found that people really enjoyed. So walking through the shop and being able to explore at their own leisure. The music that's played there is really relaxing. There's no rush to kind of finish your adventure. You can just kind of like walk through it and get inspired. So those are the good things that we found about the influence that users had. So in terms of the online experience, so one of the biggest things that we found was that people really liked having all the information online. This saved them time because they could just check the details of the product, the material that was made, and also other details about the product that would be specific to their needs. They also liked the fact that they could save things to a list, which was actually a negative experience of the store because the names were so complicated that they couldn't remember what the product was. So when it came to the online store, they could just be like, yep, save to list, you've got the product there when they need to go back to it. And the third thing that they really enjoyed about the online experience was being able to see which products were available in the store. So those were the positive experiences online. Now, these are all really good features of the current IKEA website, and we plan to implement that into our development stages of our wireframes. So the pain points that we discovered were, with the online experience, people still really wanted to touch and feel the product. So in that sense, because it's an actual physical product in the house, they wanted to have hands-on experience with it, so they wouldn't confirm the buy straight away. They'd want to experience it and get to know the product a bit more. So that was one of the challenges that the users were facing. Another thing was they found it was a little bit hard to reach out for help just with the Contact Us page. They had to either call the shop when it was actually open. There was no instant access like they would have in the in-store experience. So, but the biggest thing that we found was the information architecture of the general website was quite confusing, and that actually caused them to be quite overwhelmed. So over here on our Infinity map, we actually put it through a user flow so that we could see each sort of section of the website process. And we found a lot of trends in there that users were actually experiencing that similar information architecture confusion throughout the user flow. So once we started coming up with our mental model, which is coming up with our solutions, we put it onto a feature map. So Charlie will go through that with you.
So when it comes to the ideation stage, our team conduct a brainstorm session to figure out each potential solution, one or two potential solutions, which addresses each column on the Infinity map. And then, because it will be impossible due to the limitation of time and budget, it's impossible to implement every feature, every solution. So we plotted the feature or solution prioritization map to sort it out our solution, what's our main focus on. So on the y-axis is how impactful is the solution going to be to the business, and on the x-axis is how customers expect that feature on the e-commerce website. So that's the main area we focus on, which are the information architecture, the results page, the search prompt, and the option to contact. And it also happens to be your business goals. So this proves that our research so far are on the right track. And from that, we came up with many ideas, and some of them are really great, but due to it's difficult to implement, such as this, with addressing to the problem we have with the touch and feel, with all the like sending samples out to our loyal customers. So whenever like they want to buy a couch or something, we can send the fabric of that couch to them and give them to test and try how comfortable they are. But that requires a lot more resource compared to just upgrading the results page on the e-commerce website. Having a video of the product that people interact with it, and with the 3D model where they can rotate and see every feature of that product. So we decided to focus on that, and other things like live chat is really easy to implement. that system, and that also addresses the business goal where they want more options to contact, and you transfer the positive experience within the store to the e-commerce website. And from there, then we come up with so from our findings and the solution, we plotted a feature list, which will carry on into the further prototyping, which addresses each element we want or is required on each functional page. Then after that, we have a clear idea of what to put in the paper prototype. So each member of our group starts sketching their own ideal version of that particular page. Then after that, we combine all of the favorable features together to create a draft prototype for users to test. So Lawrence will walk us through the prototyping sessions. And
Thanks, Charlie. Yeah, so after we synthesized all our research, we made sure to keep all the business goals in mind throughout this process, and we prioritized all our features and also listing sort of like the minimum feature list that you'd expect on each page of an e-commerce website. We were armed with all the parts that we needed to proceed to the prototyping. So we obviously have our very first rough drafts here just to get out of all of our ideas and help us to iterate really quickly. So we did one iteration of the paper prototypes, and then we moved into 3 iterations of the high fidelity wireframe prototypes. So this is the final version. We're not going to show you sort of jump between all the versions, but we will talk you through a few of our findings from user feedback while we've done usability testings with these prototypes. So the first part that I'll mention is the global elements and the navigation and the information architecture we worked on. So a really big piece of feedback we got from users was about being overwhelmed with options, walls of text, that sort of thing. One example is on your current website, the navigation to go straight into the product browsing part of your website was broken up into 2 buttons at the top, product and room. So we've condensed those into one button, one direction the user can go if they want to shop. So one prompt there with both listings there. Customers did sort of like trying to organize their thoughts into, I want to sort of look at this room, or no, I sort of have this more abstract idea of a product. So we did go through all your actual current listings in those categories as well, and we found there were double ups between them. Some links actually had 0 results, so I think there was one for washing machines, but you didn't actually sell any washing machines. So we really just tried to simplify that whole process. But the main part of this sort of home page is directing the customer to 2 key paths. One down an idea of sort of I want to browse through a shopping aspect, and one through the inspiration. Plus we did find that if users knew exactly what they wanted, they would just type straight to search. So we want to make that really prominent, and we want to make that a really powerful feature as well. And I understand that was one of your key business goals to implement a good search option. So I'll run you through a user flow. So if we go to shop and say you want to shop by room, you want to get something from the kitchen. So then you're presented with a subcategory with really clear, using words and pictures to describe the subcategories. You can get a sort of narrow your search down. And also new and sales were still important to people, so making those still really accessible and visible. And then we'll talk about this later, but also directing users down the inspiration path at this point as well, if they actually kind of realize that's the direction they want to go. So say we want to look at some kitchen stools. You're then presented with the results page. Now, your current results page, if you're browsing for a product, and your current results page, if you're coming from the search path, were also differently laid out. So we've tried to make a results page that can reflect results in a relevant way through both of those paths to keep consistency and the visual language clear on through the whole experience of the website. So as you can see, we've done a lot of user testing around the types of information people like presented under it, the types of filters they find useful, because the other parts of the filters which you normally have on the side is there were lots of ones that were very contextual, so it was obviously not relevant for every product, but users just didn't find them that useful. Things like sorting was just absolutely number one across the board. Users always sort of wanted to sort, especially pricing. So something else we talked about is probably putting this most popular. Price and colour was really big for people as well. And material, which is probably contextual as well, and that can potentially change depending on the items. So when you do scroll down, we do have prompts as well for customers to load more. The idea that they're not switching between pages, and that option that they looked at the top is still there, and they can still scroll up to look at it, was like to find the users. We also got a little bit of feedback from a minority of users. They would like to load all results. So we do have the hierarchy of the main action here, but then we have this sort of sub option as well for the minority of users. So if we do go into one of these products, so yeah, go to that first stall, I'll hand you over to Tim, who will talk you through the next page.
So the first thing that we found was we tried to keep it to the original design and just see how that would go. So we had our information section under the image. Now, through our user research, we did find that people wanted to actually see the whole image while they were viewing the content. They actually liked to visualize what the product was while they were reading through all the details of it. So after iterating, we actually moved the information to the side so that they could have a full picture view on the side, and then just go browse through the details of it here. This actually had a lot of positive feedback, and people liked the fact that they were able to see both things at once. So, well, we also had a test at the color palette. With this particular design here, we've tried putting the color palettes in squares. So basically, they can just see all the colors that are available and click on the ones that are required. This was a design to deal with a problem that some users had where they saw a drop-down menu, which was on the original website, but that was, they weren't able to tell exactly which colors were available. It required them to do an extra click. So that sort of thing, we've actually tried testing this one out, and it's actually come out better. Yeah, so we also added reviews on the side. People always wanted to see the reviews just to kind of suss it out. We'll just scroll down a little bit. Yeah, so what we've got here is we've got our reviews here. If they wanted to see more, they can tap that and it'll drop down to show some more. But we also wanted the customers to feel like they're contributing to this and not just be someone that's buying off us. So we wanted to get them involved with the company. So we've allowed them to add reviews, and they can press that over here. We've also, from some feedback, they were also suggesting that they wanted users to have the ability to upload their own pictures of the product. So we had a lot of research saying that people actually prefer to see a non-IKEA taken picture because they could actually see it in a person's home and see how that would kind of work. This idea would be implemented here. We do understand there would be some sort of business conflict if they ended up putting someone else's stuff on theirs, or having other brands inside the pictures as well next to the product. So from this point of view, we'll probably need a picture moderator or some sort of policy guide to inform the users of how to approach this process. So I'm going back up to the picture selections. People actually found it quite useful to have the buttons here that they can just click on it and the image will change straight away. We've implemented a 360 view to deal with our user issue where people couldn't actually touch the product, but at least they could get a model version of the product. So if you clicked on this, a 3D model of that will pop up, and they kind of can drag it from a 360 point of view and view it from different angles. we thought this would be more easier to implement instead of doing the whole logistics of sending someone a sample of the product material. And we've also added the video. So this will basically be the product, but interacting with the person. So the person will pick up the stool or put it down, they'll sit on it so that you can actually get a scalable kind of visual version of the actual product. We've also added the ability to select how many items that you wanted to add. So obviously these would just be up and downs. This was based on some user feedback as well, that they did like to have the option to select how many they wanted to add straight away. So they could just hit add to cart and that would bounce on that. Yeah, so now we're just going to have a look at the checkout section. So Charlie, would you like to take this away?
So that's our checkout page at the moment, and we've done a lot of research on how people want the checkout process to be. So from a user interview, they want as simple as possible, and from the business point of view, they also want to cut down the steps needed for the customer to check out. So it's sort of like improve the sales overall and make the action as easy as possible. So we came up with the solution by looking at competitors, like online retailers, and we, as a team, we all agreed that the linear flow in one page is the way to start. But however, after user testings, for experienced like online shoppers, this was clear to them. But when like a new customer, they're not really familiar with online shopping, they find that putting all of the information at once is a bit overwhelming, and that they don't know which way to begin. So we iterated to the way that we only highlight the section they are working on or they want to look at. So after clicking confirm items, it goes to the next step. It also allows you to edit whatever was previous. So confirm items. So, and at this stage, we assume the users or the customer already signed in with the account. So like their details will be already saved. Or you have the option to not to save. So confirm delivery, please. And then it jumps to the payment option. Again, you have the option to save your cards or use a different card if you want. And we also provide pay in store and PayPal option. And this way, just like all the steps needed to check out is within one page. And this is well received after a few other users testings, so we decided to stick with it and just maybe work on the information structure in architect a little bit more to make it more obvious. So place order now, please. And by pressing the place order now, you go to the confirmation page where all your information will be available in your account, and you can check out the return policy if you change your mind. Yeah. Then after that, you can go back to shop, or you can have this prompt to inspire me to go to the inspiration page, which Lawrence would talk you through about.
Thanks, Charlie. Yeah, so as I mentioned before, the homepage is really about directing two different directions. So we went through the shopping part of it, so now we'll go through the inspiration part. Now in terms of the terminology used here, we have played around with it a lot. In your current website, you're sort of toying around with similar ideas with terminology used like ideas. That didn't flow really well with the user interviews we got. Users really just didn't know what to expect when they clicked on that. So we played around with a few terms. We did sort of inspire me, ideas, and we've landed on inspiration. It could probably use a bit more tweaking, but users are starting to sort of understand where this might actually take you. So again, visual and written prompts about the sort of categories you can jump into. So let's just jump into kitchen. And then you're presented with a Pinterest-style artboard, which uses, especially users of Pinterest, a immediately felt comfortable navigating. So these are all going to be nicely choreographed rooms that IKEA has designed and photographed. And then when a user wants to interact or get more information from these inspiring scenes that you've created, they can just hover over one of the sort of shopping tags, which will be over each item of furniture in the photo, and they can also click on it, which will bring up a pop-up that will frame nicely in the whole screen over the results as well. So this page will give you a list of all the products that are actually included in the image, as well as you can click on a tag that will give you sort of a little quick review of some more information about it. Plus it'll bring you up more detailed place here, help you just add this particular item to it, see the item just with a white background if you sort of want a clearer look at it, and also help you direct to the actual details page of this particular item if you want to get more in depth about it. If you just hit that X as well to sort of close that, you can also just click directly on here as well to get to that page. And you can also add room to cart, which was some really good feedback we got through usability testing. You know, one user, said, "Oh, I just love that whole room, but I just want to add a straight to cart." So again, adding sort of bridging the gap between the inspiration part of the site and the e-commerce part of the site still helps users get those items to the cart and to their home. So that's the inspiration part that we really want to focus on in terms of what we see as a really important shopping experience that users had a really positive feedback about. And there's a lot of physicality with that that's hard to capture on the web, but this sort of inspiration idea is how we decided to, this is how we decided to sort of implement that. Now for the final part of this prototype, I'm going to get Vivian to run you through the contact information.
So as our research, we realized that customers really like the shopping experience in IKEA, that the staff is really accessible. So the customer, whenever or wherever they have a question, they have the staff to help them. So we wanted to implement that to our e-commerce. So we have this live chat. So whenever you're on this website, you have a question, you can simply just click on that, and then the conversation box will pop up, and then you can just type in your questions here and hit this enter button, and your question will be sent. And some staff, some real person will answer your question. So exactly that way, we have our store telephone number right here, so it's really obvious for customer to see. The other way is contact IKEA. We put the contact IKEA here. On our original draft, we put contact IKEA here, but in our usability test, we realized that it's more intuitive for the customer to read from left to right, so we put it here. So if you can click on contact us, it will pop you FAQs, because in the most scenario, people will contact us, maybe they have a problem, they have a question to ask. So if you click on that, maybe your question is already been asked and answered. So you can search your question here, and you can browse here. Hopefully your questions be solved here. If you go back to contact us, you can call us. So the telephone number will be there, and you can write an email. Just simply put your email address there and put your message there and send. If you want to have a quick conversation with them, you can just use this live chat. So that's all about the contact design we have. Thanks.
Thanks, Vivian.
Thank you.
So that sort of concludes the official wireframing prototypes and the solutions that we want to propose to you guys. So we've really tried to keep in mind your business goals, the user feedback, and the user needs to create this solution for you guys. Now, just before we go, I just want to bring out our secret weapon, Cindy, who's been sitting quietly in the corner for a little bit, who's going to blow your mind.
So I'm going to talk something about the future, because I come from the future. So what is next? Actually, we did some usability tests on our final prototype, which we just went through, and we got some key findings that we would like to improve in the future. So next slide. One thing is about make contact IKEA look more clickable, like a button here, because contact is very important for us. And also,
You're now over time, so carry on.
okay. Also, many users tell us that they would like to select more than one colors when they choose the product. So we will enable them to select multiple colors in the filter. Next one. And also, price is a very important factor when everyone is deciding whether to buy this furniture or not. So we will put price at the very top of the sort drop-down menu. And also, arrows seem to be a very conventional way for us to navigate photos. So we would like to also add arrows on both sides of the photos. So I believe that it will be a new generation in IKEA history. But we are not just stopping here. We do still have one more thing. So do you still remember our main pain point is that users cannot touch and feel the item they actually want to buy. And now we have a solution. So let me introduce our signature IKEA hotel and IKEA restaurant. So you've been wondering how can we solve this problem by those two. So let me show you through our prototype. So this is the product information page. Instead of just watching video, looking at the pictures from different angles, we have a button here, training. If you click on it, it will show you the restaurant, hotel, IKEA store, which are just nearby. For example, if you want to try this stool, there is actually a cookies bar, which is just 2 kilometers away from where you are living. And also you can go to IKEA restaurant because you can try signature meatballs there. So we partnership with different restaurants all over the world, and also very popular restaurant just nearby your house, and also hotels. If you want to try a bed, probably you will go to a hotel, and you can go to IKEA hotel, which has a lot of showrooms that you can live in, and also you can go to some popular hotel like Ibis and Holiday Inn when you are traveling. And also we still have IKEA store. So maybe it is a little bit far away, like 20 kilometers, but if you click on Take Me There, don't click.
Don't click.
Take me there, and actually a very friendly IKEA staff will drive you there, and along the way, she or he can answer any questions you have. So, for example, a user really loves this bed. Now he can only go to an IKEA store and lie on it for just 5 minutes in public. Hopefully he's not naked. And after that, he can book a hotel and stay there for several nights. And when he is on business trip or traveling. For example, if the user really like a dining table, before that, he have to go for a long way to IKEA, which may take him like a couple of hours. But now, he can go to just the restaurant near his house and have a date with friends and also try the signature IKEA meatball. More than this, it still has some potential business value. Let's say if a customer really likes the food and the environment in the restaurant, he will probably take a picture and post in the Instagram. So can help us to bring more customers. And we know social media is very important in your research. And also, if the customer really likes the food, maybe he will also fall in love with the chair he is currently sitting. So in this case, they can actually scan the QR code on the furniture, and it will take him directly to the website so that he can buy it online. So let's refer back to the quote we mentioned in the beginning. Happiness is not just reaching your goal. Happiness is being on the way, from IKEA founder who is just sitting here. Thank you.